Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar. My name is Saurabh Kumar and I am head organizer of this session. I hope all of you are fine and taking care of yourself. Let's quickly check whether I am audible to you or not. Please raise your hand for some time if you can hear me clearly. There is an option to raise the hand on the top right corner of your screen. Please raise your hand. If you can hear me clearly, please raise your hand. Okay. Okay, thank you everyone. Now you can put your hand down. Please put your hand down. Okay, so during this session, if you have any doubt or question, you can raise your hand anytime. Once you will raise your hand, I'll unmute your line so that you can ask your questions. Also, you can put your question in the chat section tab available at top right corner. Today we have Mr. Kamal Kumawat. Firstly, I'd like to thank Mr. Kamal for giving us his valuable time. So Kamal has completed his graduation from IIT Bombay. Currently, he is co-founder and director of Adjustify, which is one of leading startups in the supply chain and logistic industry in India. He was also a co-founder of Deal With Us. He has worked with Target Corporation and also has been taking lectures at IIT Bombay and workshop on blockchain at CII. Before starting this session, I'd like to check how many of you are college students or working professionals. Okay, so most of you are working professionals. Nice. Now, I'd like to request Mr. Kamal to start this session. Handing over to you, Kamal.
Great. Thank you, Saurabh, for the kind introduction. I hope you and your family are great and stay safe and sound wherever you are staying. We all are facing a difficult scenario because of COVID-19, which we haven't faced in last 100 years. We have so many uncertainties on how long it will last and how deep will be the impact on businesses. We can see that the entire travel, hospitality, offline retail outlets are worst hit. And on the other hand, there is boom in pharma, edutech, online gaming industry. We all are aware such time always changes the entire dynamics of market, and if we look for positivity, there would be many opportunities waiting for us. So today I'm going to give you how to initiate a business and key things to keep in mind. We'll also learn how to design the entire business model, which will help us in launching the startup fast and cut short the path towards growth. The test of entrepreneurial opportunity. Rather, I should be calling it idea generation, which includes size and growth of the market, the growth strategy of the company, and so on. So when we are evaluating an idea, we need to think about all these 10 points, not just the product. As if it works out, you will be working it on 10 plus years. So it's damn important to put upfront time for developing a sustainable business model. Even though plans are worthless, but putting time for planning is worth it and totally missing in most of the startups today. Long-term thinking is huge advantageous if you do it. Remember, the idea will expand and become more ambitious as you go on. So it's not needed to know everything on day one, but still it's great to have a structured starting point. We can see that we need to focus on market conditions, industry conditions, access to resources, what technology we would be using, and the right timing, how the funding scenario is. Your idea is scalable or not. You have an exit strategy in place or not. All skill sets are in check. You have to build great teams and you have defined your revenue models. Just to give you an example, we started Adjustify when GST was implemented, and the sector which was most positively impacted was logistics and supply chain. Many unicorns have emerged in this sector, like Delivery, Blackbuck, Rivigo. So we tried to check the most of the required things from this checklist. I would ask everyone like if you have any idea which you want to discuss, you can write it down. Saurabh, I would request you to ask everyone, like if you have any damn idea which you want to discuss at the end of this presentation, we can like give a thinking thought towards that.
Okay, Kamal.
So now I'm continuing with the like how to define your idea, which is similar to defining your value proposition. This value proposition describes the bundle of products and services that we need to create for a specific customer segment. It is the reason why customers would come for company services. Value proposition is the solution of problem statement we are trying to solve. Some value propositions may be innovative and others might be just another value addition. So while defining this, we need to ask what value are we providing to our customers? What customer pain points are we solving? What bundle of products and services are we offering to each customer segment? Which customer needs are we satisfying? You can see that in my previous venture Deal With Us, we provided additional cashback on all e-commerce purchases, additional to discounts available on those e-commerce sites. We also brought customized offers. Eventually, we were acting as a branding partner for companies, and they have to pay only when a sale used to happen through us. And if you think about Ola's model, drivers have freedom to choose their working hours, and they have easy access to more customers. And riders have more safety. They can access it anywhere at any time. If we want to explore how can we identify value proposition, we can think about particular behaviors, like if we are searching certain newness, new needs which never existed earlier, like cell phones, TikTok. You would be surprised to know that Indian users spend over 38 minutes each day. 2 3 years back, this never existed. Some startups are defined towards improving the performance or efficiency of existing products, like newer version of laptops or mobile phones which keep on coming. Some are towards customization, tailoring products and services according to customer needs, like how Harley Davidson sells its products. Some products are defined towards design innovation. You must be knowing about in last like 2 decades back also, 99 acres and Magic Bricks existed. But around 8 9 years back, Housing.com came, which brought a disruption in design in the real estate sector. Then certain models are towards brand creating, like Rolex signifies the wealth. Most important factor is towards cost reduction, which most of the B2B companies try to focus on. Some are towards risk reduction. Customers value reducing risk when they purchase products or services. If I take example of Registrify, we are acting as a trust partner by providing a single point of platform for taking supply chain decisions across India and reducing the entire cost structure. Now I would be talking towards defining your customer segment. Value proposition was the brain of the entire idea. Then talking about customers, we need to define customer segments which are different groups of people or organization an enterprise aims to reach and serve. So customers act as a heart of any business model. We need to answer for whom are we creating value, who are our most important customers. Like in Deal With Us, we targeted tier 1 city people and college students whose age was like lying between 17, or industry working people whose age was around 45. And Ola targeted people who want to earn money driving or people who want to take a ride. For properly defining customer segments, we can think about market is mass market or not, like consumer electronics sector or FMCG sector, who try to target every sector of society. Then there are products defined for niche market, like how Rolex, Harley Davidson, or Taj Group of hotels have defined their market. Some products are around like they define the customer based on segmentation, like targeting customers depending on their revenue numbers. Many banks, wealth management teams have different proposition for high net worth of individuals. And you must be knowing credit cards are assigned based on your income levels. Then certain organizations have a diversified customer segment, Like Amazon started with an e-commerce company and ventured into a cloud services for entirely different customer segment. There are certain business models which are multi-sided platforms. Some markets have two or more independent customer segments. In our case, in Agistify, we are helping companies like Flipkart, Reliance take data-driven decisions for finalizing warehouses and allied services. Similarly, we are also helping our vendors getting maximum returns from their properties. Now, if we are defining our customers, there are two broad categories: business to consumers. Most of the companies which you see around, which we are using on daily life, like Facebook, Google, all are business to consumer. If we want to understand our customers better, we can use Maslow's hierarchy needs, which is relevant for B2C businesses. As we go higher, we can get more sticky customers. For example, bread, which we can get at a local restaurant at 30 rupees, costs around 700 rupees in a 5-star hotel. So as we add esteem to physiological needs, the prices increases. Google acts as a knowledge platform and Facebook acts for social connect. That's the reason they come at top in today's world. Google, Facebook have become more important than physiological needs. So if you want to create any product proposition which you want to serve mass customers, then you need to think about this hierarchy. And you can think many ideas based on at which level you are lying and how to define your cost structure or revenue structure based on this Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Similarly, if we talk about B2B businesses, it's a totally different ball game. Here for selling, we need to understand the right stakeholders and focus on creating the value. Like in Agistify, we talk about doing business in most ethical manner and helping companies save their cost and time. That compels customers and digitally transform the entire supply chain and logistics. In B2B, current focus is shifted to safety, security, and compliances. A data breach or discrimination act totally destroys the reputation of companies. So till now, if you want to ask anything related with B2C or B2B, or you can put your thoughts also, like you can give me examples of any of B2C companies which you know or you want to talk about, or B2B businesses which you want to talk about. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Kamal.
Yeah.
I guess Nayan wanted to ask something because he has raised his hand. Nayan?
Okay.
Nayan, I have unmuted your line. You can ask your question.
Hello, Kamal. Am I audible?
Hi, Nayan.
Yeah. So I want to ask, like, if the idea I have is not clear and I want to try
Okay,
out
I guess
the.
Nayan can't hear me. There's a
Yeah, I can
question
hear you.
from Vishal Kumar. He wanted to ask, in supply side, can we use drone?
We can use drones. Like that comes upon like you are defining your value proposition and you are defining your B2B and B2C businesses too. So drones can be integrated based on the business need. Like if it's cost effective, like I would cover entire thing in the end. So if I like once we complete this business model creation now, then it would be much better. Like it would be clear when I would explain the cost angle also now. Is it feasible to use drones or not? It will totally depend upon the cost part. And I guess I was Saurabh, I was able to hear Nayan clearly. So
Yes. Your voice is audible.
so
Yeah.
I guess
One
Nayan,
question
you
from
can ask the question. Okay. Tell me.
Nayan. Nayan, you can ask your question. Okay, Nayan, your voice is not
I
clear,
guess.
so you can write your question. Okay, Kamal.
Okay. You want to ask anything?
There's a question from Shivaji. What is the main difference between B2C and
Yeah.
B2B startup?
So B2C is more need driven. Like if you talk about industries now, so if we are solving for certain needs, like B2C could be a random output also. Like we want to solve something to mass consumers. It's totally need driven. Are we selling biscuits, or are we want, like, do we want to sell more to the mass audience? B2B is more driven towards what want. Like we need something and that need to be delivered. When I say B2B na, those things need to happen for sure. Like for certain industries, if they want to work na, there is a certain must thing which need to be done. So B2B is more towards intellectual things which need to be completed and then driven. And
Okay.
when I talk about B2C, it's a mass product. We want to target mass audience, and that relevance of that product is not that much. Like we can live without that product, and that product can be targeted for the mass audience. And B2B is want driven. It should happen.
Okay. Okay. Nan question is like how to validate an idea.
So while defining na, in our case what we did, like you need to do a lot of groundwork. So in most of the hacking movies you might have seen, or bank robbery movies, the entire movie is dependent on information gathering. So when you have any damn new idea na, you should use every platform available to you to ask questions and understand the market. Like for digital discovery, you can use Google or AngelList or different ideas. You can use Google smartly. Like you can go to Google USA, Google Australia, Google France, or even China to understand how exactly products are there. And you should talk with a lot of people to understand the exact product proposition. We took around 6-7 months to define our value proposition, and then we incorporated our company.
Okay,
And
Kamal.
once we complete our business model canvas now, it would give you a lot of insights, like when to start your company and how to start your company.
Okay.
So
So
I'm
I
continuing,
guess
Saurabh. Okay.
no, I
Yeah.
guess Siva has got what is the difference between B2B and B2C. Now he has asked again one question. Which one is more effective in terms of revenue generation? B2B or B2C?
So again, it's depending upon the idea. So B2C startups require a lot of initial cash for marketing, or you have a viral strategy. And for young entrepreneurs, the best method is to target B2C segment. Or once you have other co-founders who are well experienced in the industry, then you can think of B2B startups also. So it's totally dependent upon the idea and how fast it can scale up, or what sort of team structure you have created. So if you have expertise, for B2B you require experience. So you need to understand that, or you need to partner with someone who have experience. So you might have seen a lot of startups, like if I talk about Facebook itself, a lot of young entrepreneurs have entered B2C market because it's easy to start and easy to disrupt. But important part is it requires a lot of marketing cost. So if you have something which can go viral, then it's worth your time. And for B2B, you need to structure your team because it requires a lot of experience.
Okay, Kamal.
Thank you.
So we have few more questions which we will cover in question answer session. So you can continue your presentation.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Thank you. So coming to channels, it describes how the company communicates with and reaches its customer segment to deliver the value proposition. Channels are customer touch points that play an important role in customer experience. Channels serve several functions like raising customers' awareness about the company's products. Customers can evaluate the value proposition, delivering the value proposition to customers through this. For defining channels, we need to answer through which channels do our customer segments want to be reached? How are we reaching them now? How are our channels integrated? Which ones are most cost efficient? Like in Deal With Us, we created a responsive web platform and a Chrome plugin. Ola uses only app, but for defining channels, we can think of direct And indirect channels. Direct channels could include your web channels or owning stores. Indirect channels could be your partner stores or wholesalers. You must have seen lifestyle having multiple brands in a single place. So it could be through indirect channels. Coming to customer relationships, it describes the types of relationships a company establishes with customer segments. It can be driven by customer acquisition or customer retention or boosting sales, upselling. Like you have defined your customer segment and you have maintained a good relationship. Now you can increase your value, like increase your product range that you want to serve to the same customer. In the present scenario, customer relationship becomes a key component. And in today's world, customers have become a lot of demanding. And customer relationship deeply influences the overall customer experience. If you remember, a single customer's review on social media for Oyo called a lot of backslash, and they had to focus on customer experience a lot. For defining customer relationship, we need to answer what type of relationships does each of our customer segments expect us to establish and maintain with them. Which ones have we established? How costly are they? How are they integrated with the rest of the business model? As in Deal With Us, we had live chat, call center, more cashback for subscribed customers. Ola have a rating system and a call center. They also have chatbot. They provide discounts and a subscription model of Ola Select. I want to bring focus on few categories of customer relationship which can be used based on business need. The first one is personal assistance. This may happen on site at the point of sale, through call centers, or by email, or through other means. Or you can have a dedicated personal assistant. In assigning a dedicated company representative for a company, like companies like IBM, HP provide a key person in their customer offices. Some are driven by self-assistant. Companies do not make direct relationship. They provide all the necessary means for customers to help themselves. Then there are certain automated services. In a sophisticated manner, many customers provide self-service. You must be knowing about recommendations provided by Netflix, Amazon, and Flipkart. Certain companies, like most of the companies now, create communities. Companies maintain online communities that allow users to exchange knowledge and solve each other's problem. Most companies are using social media channels. Then there are platforms which help in co-creation, like Flipkart and Amazon allows customers to leave a review, and YouTube allows everyone to create content and share with each other. So if you want to ask anything related with these all segments, because we are entering on the other segment, which is totally driven towards cost. So let me know if you have any questions related to this, or you can write those questions down right now and we can take those questions at the end of the session.
Kamal, Ashwarya wanted to ask something. Ashwarya?
Yeah, tell me.
Ashwarya,
Hi.
can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
you
can
can
hear
ask
you.
your question.
No, actually, the slide went back, but I wanted to ask if customer acquisition in B2B is much easier than in B2C in terms of both time and money required.
Yeah. Yeah, it's easier, but the important factor is you want to have industry experts backing you or on your team. Like it's
Okay.
difficult for young entrepreneurs to, or like there could be, you must have seen most of the B2B startups are started by experienced people. So you need to
Mm-hmm.
understand the industry entirely. So that industry
Okay.
understanding is very important while starting a B2B startup. So in B2C
Okay.
case, we were requiring capital for marketing our product proposition, but in B2B case, we require capital for onboarding senior people who can help us in industry knowledge.
Okay. 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 Got it.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Kamal.
So Saurabh, I'm continuing. Yeah, tell me.
Actually, Bhuvnesh has one question.
Yeah.
I guess.
Tell me. Hello.
Bhuvnesh has muted his line. No problem. You can continue, Kamal.
Okay.
Okay. Can
So
I
now
ask the
coming to
question?
key resources.
Acha, Bhuvnesh
Okay, tell
is
me.
ready to ask the question.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, Kamal, my question was, I will ask my question with two examples, and then I wanted to know your opinion about it. One example is Udaan. I think you must have heard of it.
Yeah.
So Udaan actually they do across sector. They are like dealing across sectors, and they are selling everything. It is not just that they are providing logistic services. They are also selling stuff from multiple sectors, maybe apparels, FMCG, and things like that. So they have taken a full
Yes.
stack model and full stack model across goods, not just one particular sector, or you cannot
So
pin them into a sector. But on the other hand, if you look at something like Bizak or few other startups, they have targeted a particular sector. Like Bizak has targeted, I think, vegetable markets, and they are going deep into the lingo of those markets and building business there. So as an entrepreneur and with your interaction with investors so far, uh, what do you think is a good business model in terms of should you always target a sector completely because your investor can diversify on his own, so you would have better chances of getting good investors, or you should go full stack and try to do everything?
So again, like it's a controversial, it's a great question first of all. And if you see Udaan's model now, when they started now, they focused on building their ecosystem. Like they started with particular 2-3 categories. Once they established their supply chain, like they knew like who are their retailers, whom they are selling, and they developed their entire model. Then you must have heard that they have started entering into pharma or fruits and vegetable category. So if you talk about full stack model now, Udaan also first established their logistics and supply chain and a like customer network. Then they entered into multiple categories. And luckily they were at right on time and they raised capital at right time. But generally investors focus more on a particular sector and going deep into that so that no competition can come. But there is another thing that if your vision is big now, then also it's more valued. You must have heard about Quicker and Common Floor story. Quicker started
Yeah.
after Common Floor, but their vision was big. And though Common Floor was doing great, still it got acquired by Quicker just because their vision was bigger and they were becoming a horizontal place instead of just going vertical. So it would be totally dependent upon the experience of entrepreneurs and right timing to reach the investors. If you find someone who can trust your vision, then it's all game to us. Like you can create a community around it. And generally investors prefer more towards specific dedicated verticals where a customer
Right.
like where you don't find more competition. So it's
No,
a
my
subjective
just
thing.
simple,
Like you can
my just very simple question on that is,
there's
if tomorrow 1 milligram decides for vertical integration, then Udaan's
yeah.
pharma thing is almostly it would be in thin air because they would have everything more to offer
Uh,
1 milligram.
Actually, 1 mg. So India is a India is a 140 crore population country. So right now 1 mg Udaan haven't touched or even touched the market. So there is a place
Got it,
of
got it.
multiple players existing in the same market. So there's not
Okay.
even a slightest problem. So India's have a strength of this population which is not explored yet. So there is place for all the players. Ultimately there would be integration, like there would be startups who would merge at the end, but right now there is a place for all of them.
So
Like
what
we
are
are
the
still
sectors that you
touching
see?
3-4% of e-commerce.
What are the most unexplored sectors that you see currently in India?
Still I would talk about most of the digital play. After demonetization also, you must have known that 20% users have, like earlier online digital usage was 10% only. Demonetization made that to reach 20%. So digital transactions is still lacking. E-commerce is still lacking. We haven't reached rurals. That's why JioMart is coming in picture. So there is huge potential in normal retail or e-commerce also. You need to reach customers, maintain that stickiness, and have strong supply chains or digital supply chains, which is still lagging. And if you see numbers of India's GDP, which are currently at $2.8 trillion, in next coming 20 to 30 years, it would be increasing to $30 trillion. So these are the sectors which will increase. Okay, like
Right,
you
right.
must have seen Jio's news. Today, Facebook have invested in JioMart, like Jio. The reason is like Reliance if grew properly in next coming 20 years, this 5 or 10% stake would be worth of about $200 billion in coming years. So they have taken a good bet. So still a lot of companies are coming. Even in food delivery, there are a lot of new companies which will emerge. Still, these are unexplored markets. Okay. So I would be continuing
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
business model right now. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Naman.
Take questions at
Please
the end
continue.
now. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Thank you,
coming
Okay,
Gurdeep.
to
thanks.
key resources. Okay, thank you. So again, coming to key resources, this describes the most important assets required to make your business model work. Every business requires key resources, and these resources allows companies to create and offer value proposition which reaches markets, maintains relationship with customer segment. For defining key resources, we need to ask what key resources do our value proposition require? Our distribution channels, our key resources, or customer relationships, revenue streams. In Deal With Us, we needed tech platform and a partner network of all e-commerce platforms, and a strong admin team, strong marketing team, and a branding team. Similarly, Ola requires their app, their driver network, their tech team, their marketing team, safety and compliance team. And key resources can be categorized as physical assets such as manufacturing plants, warehouses, vehicles, machines. These are generally capital intensive. You must have seen DMart's models or Big Bazaar model. Then there are certain key resources which fall into intellectual category, like brands, patents, and copyright partnerships. Qualcomm has built their entire business model around patented chipsets. Nike and Puma heavily relies on the brand. Humane is common for every startup, but certain industries' entire business model is dependent on human. Like consulting firms or pharma companies like Glenmark relies on army of experienced scientists. Then certain resources are financial driven. Some business models are dependent on financial resources. Financial guarantee, cash lines, credit lines. Companies ask their vendors to invest upfront capital and then take the amount with interest on amortization basis. After key resources, there are certain key activities which acts most important things a company must do to make the entire business model work. So basically, most important actions a company must take to operate successfully. Key activities are very much similar to key resources. Whatever impact key resources were bringing, all these need to be translated into key activities. Key activities will change depending on the business model. For software making companies like TCS, Microsoft will include software development, and consulting companies like BCG will include problem solving skill set. For identifying key activities, we should ask what key activities do our value proposition require? Our distribution channels, our customer relationship network. For Deal With Us, we have to develop tech product and do enhancements continuously, adding new e-commerce platforms and renegotiating the affiliate rates. For Ola, they have to develop app and keep enhancing the features. Their marketing, branding activities, building Ola Play, communicating with all the stakeholders involved. Key activities can also be categorized as production, designing, making, and delivering products in substantial quantities and superior qualities. Production activity dominates the business model in manufacturing firms. Problem solving activity is always seen in operations of consultancy firms or hospitals, and other service industries are typically dominated by this problem solving activities. Their business model includes knowledge management and continuous training. All the companies who had platform, their key resources were like dependent upon platform, na, their key activities include networks and matchmaking platforms or marketing their platform very much. So we have talked about key resources and key activities. Then there are certain things which we are dependent upon on our key partners. This segment describes the network of suppliers and partners. Companies form partnerships for optimizing their risk or acquiring resources. Companies can form many different types of partnerships. Strategic alliances between non-competitors, strategic partnerships between competitors, and joint ventures to develop new businesses. We should think about who are our key partners, who are our key suppliers, which key resources are we acquiring from partners, which key activities do partners perform. In Deal With Us, we partnered with NGOs for convincing our customers that with a click, they can donate 10% of their shopping amount, and partnered with mobile recharge companies that cashback can be received as mobile recharge. Ola partners with map companies, insurance companies, payment companies. They have also partnered with OTT platforms for the Ola Play. The major motivation for creating partnerships are first is optimization and economy of scale. It's illogical for companies to own all resources or perform every activity by itself. Optimization and economy of scale partnerships are usually formed to reduce cost and often involve outsourcing or sharing infrastructure. Second is reduction of risk and uncertainty. Partnerships can help reduce risk in a competitive environment and characterized by uncertainty. Competitors define price flooring so that all can survive in the market. You must have seen Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Their prices are generally similar. Similarly, third is acquisition of particular resources and activities. Some companies try to perform all the activities described by their business model, and some companies focus on their core proposition and outsource the other things. That's how all the 3PL companies, you must have heard about delivery, DHL, DTDC, exist as they take care of the operations of all other companies. Now we come on the important sector, cost structure. It describes all costs incurred to operate a business model. Creating and delivering value, maintaining customer relationships, and generating revenue all incur costs. Such costs can be easily calculated after defining key resources, key activities, and key partnerships. The main things to ask: what are the most important costs inherent in our business model? Which key resources are most expensive? Which key activities are most expensive? In Deal With Us, our major cost was marketing, platform creation and upgrading, admin costs, and customer support. In Ola, their major cost goes in customer acquisition. Then they have partners with insurance, tech platform costs, marketing costs, and they also have R&D teams, customer support, and infrastructure costs. You must be knowing that this is common sense that costs should be minimized in every business model. But low cost structures are more important to some business models than to others. So businesses are broadly differentiated between cost driven and value driven. Cost driven business models focus on minimizing cost wherever possible. This approach aims at creating and maintaining the leanest possible cost structure using low price value proposition, maximum automation, and extensive outsourcing. You must be knowing about Indigo, which provides cheap flights and created entire business model around budget. Value-driven companies are less concerned with the cost implications of a particular business model and focus on value creation. Like luxury hotels like Taj or Harley Davidson, Apple, they focus on creating value. Costs are also defined as fixed costs, costs that remain fixed despite the volume of goods or services produced, like salaries, rents, manufacturing plants. Manufacturing companies have high fixed costs, and there could be variable costs. These vary proportionally with volume of goods or services produced. You must be knowing about event companies. Depending upon the size of event, the cost structure goes on. Economies of scale. Reliance, being a big company, tries to negotiate the cost because of bulk needs. There are many startup models who are aggregating the demand side and trying to negotiate with suppliers on the cost side and try to create a margin in it. Then there are economies of scope, like a company. We just discussed about Udaan. They first defined or designed their entire distribution channel. Now they try to sell multiple goods. using the same channel which they have designed. Coming to the most controversial block of for all the startups is revenue streams. This is the real cash which companies generate by offering the value proposition to companies. Value proposition was brain, customers were heart of business model. Revenue stream is the arteries. Business models can have two different types of revenue stream: transaction revenues resulting from one-time customer payment, or a recurring revenue resulting from ongoing payment to either deliver a value proposition to customers or provide post-purchase customer support. In this block, we need to answer for what value are our customers really willing to pay, for what do they are currently paying, how they are currently paying, and how much does each revenue stream contribute to overall revenue. Like in Deal With Us, we used to receive an affiliate fees for every sale happened through us on partner websites. We also had a subscription revenue by offering customers more cashback. Ola charges transaction fees for rides. Ola Select is their subscription plan, and they also provide their platform for advertising. If we see, there are several ways companies can generate revenue. Most common is asset sell, selling physical products like mobile phones, cars, books, or second-hand items. Then there are usage fees like hotels charges on number of days we stay, or package delivery charges for delivering of parcel. Subscription fees, you must have heard about Cult Fit, which charges for our gym subscription, and we must be using Netflix, Hotstar, JioSaavn, or Spotify for our music and movies needs. Then there are certain models around leasing. Startups like Furlenco, Rentomozo, and Flyro are in rental business. Certain companies are into licensing. We see that production houses provide rights to OTT platforms for publishing their content. Companies also generate revenue by giving access to patented technology. Then there are brokerage fees. Generally, banks charge these fees, or real estate agents earn a commission each time they match a buyer and a seller. Then there are advertising fees. Traditional media or Google, Facebook earn revenue through advertisements. All the revenue streams which I mentioned can have fixed or dynamic pricing based on product features, customer segments, volume, supply, demand, availability. So we have seen all these 9 things, which translates into a business model, and we call this as a business model canvas. So whenever you start a new company or you want to understand a business model of a company, you can define these 9 things, and this could be a starting point. You won't be missing out a single thing. I would suggest all of you to choose any industry that you know about and try to create a business model of them. This will help you in improving the ability to visualize new startup ideas. You can think about business model of most people can share their photos on this, and many designers use this. So their value proposition actually lies on premium photo sharing, and they have created a free platform so that they can acquire customers. Then there are casual users, and then there are users who use very much, so they need to subscribe to their platform. So they reach customers using their platform, and their branding partner is Yahoo. The customer relationship through mass customization and switching cost. The key resources are their platform and their brand, and key activities is their platform management, and they partnered with Yahoo. Their major cost goes into storage and platform development. So you must be knowing about Facebook, Google, Flickr, Trell. Many media startups are there. So the common cost which goes for them is their storage cost, and the annual subscription plan is their revenue generation model. This is an old company, but they brought something unique in the business model. Like, this is an old company, still you can see that their value proposition was razor handles, but they made a recurring business model by providing blades. So it's one of most innovative business models. So that's why I have put it. Then Lego is again a 70-year-old company, but in 2005 they redefined their entire business model. They made their platform open to public to creating customized kits, and they had to redesign their entire supply chain for those customized products. So you can think that companies like Lego are using business model canvas for defining their business and understanding it clearly. So it's useful for every startup to start using this for defining everything. So you want to ask anything related to business model canvas, you can post your questions and we can take it at the end. Coming to must know things before starting up. From my learnings, I have tried to put key points which might help you when you start execution. Founders or the founding team is responsible for the entire execution of ideas. That's why it's very important to design a business model canvas to understand what all skill sets are required to run the business. And then one should look for co-founders, and it helps companies to survive in tough times. That's why the dynamics of founders becomes important. And if founders know each other from long time with appropriate skill set, it becomes a great journey. Like in our case, I knew Antim from my childhood time and Umang from my JEE preparation days. With that in place, both were passionate about startups and were co-team members of some of the successful startups. When we are a startup, we don't focus on legal documentation. But what I believe is from the day you are going all out, one should hire a legal advisor and should follow all the compliances. I have seen my many companies taking a lot of time for receiving funds after the funding commitment also because of legal documentation time. One of my investor deal fall apart because of this reason at the time of deal with us. And if you receive a term sheet, I would suggest read it 100 times before signing it. Though you might be excited that you are about to receive cash, still read it. As a startup, one thing which we should never stop is innovation. And we should keep iterating the business model as we learn about the market. Oyo started its business model by giving minimum guarantee to hotel owners for a set of rooms and then marketed those rooms at lower cost for bringing customers. But this business model was made to fail as they were losing a lot of cash. But then they pivoted their model to creating a unique brand and transforming entire property in the budget segment, which have made them reach in the world's top 10 hotel chains. One of the most important part, this preserve cash is actually the mantra for all big companies, as any startup can't last more if they don't have cash. All the battles are won by last man standing. So founders who have learned the basic of preserving cash and knowing when to spend would last long. This COVID situation will test the entire ecosystem. I guess 20 to 30% of the startups will die down because of this. NASCOM has predicted that 50% of the SMEs might die down because of this COVID situation. Handling mentors or investors is very important. Time which is common to you and your mentor is important. So while onboarding a mentor or investor, you should be clear about what you are expecting from them. When you get a feedback, you should tell about the outcomes that you mentioned 5 things, 3 worked out, 2 didn't work out. This helps you to maintain a healthy relationship between them. Though we have discussed business model canvas, but immediate step is to go in the market, start implementing your minimum viable product, and ultimately things need to be executed. Do you want to ask me anything related with our journey? You can put the questions. Coming to opportunities of COVID, we all know personal protective equipment need has increased exponentially. So any design innovation in this industry will last forever. So you might create a list of all PPEs and can still look for innovative designs with lower cost as people are in fear, and this would last for longer time. So you can think towards innovating certain designs in PPE. Supply chain industry has always been people's driven and it's so unorganized. COVID-19 has brought the focus on this industry like never before. We all can see the problems which we are facing in procuring just the essential things. We have seen a lot of companies adding new verticals of hyper delivery of grocery material. The space which was dominated by big basket grocers, now we can see box it, no broker, even shop are delivery grocery items at our home. Companies like us, which are digitizing the industry and bringing visibility and transparency in the ecosystem, will be needed a lot by every company which wants to transform their supply chain. One great change we will be seeing in the hygiene segment. Many new startups will emerge in this sector and people will more focus on this. Pharma industry will become more digital from increase in online consultation to medicine delivery, to having van hospitals which will reach to customers. And this will also might help in auto sector also. VR/AR startups are already there, but this COVID-19 has brought the spotlight on this sector. People will fear in public gatherings. AR/VR startups will provide the community feel in virtual world. EdTech startups were already growing in India, but now COVID-19 have made these startups reach masses. Traditional schools in many cities have shifted to digital classes, and now the personalization and more opportunities will open up. I guess this is the right time to start preparing innovative solutions in the manufacturing field. Traditional players have lost their edge because of COVID-19. They have a lot of cash issues right now. There will be great opportunities that Indians might start purchasing goods made in India. Already many countries are thinking to move their manufacturing units to other countries. If we can create an ecosystem for having these companies enter India, it can also yield us good revenue opportunities. Insurance sector would see a boom, though there are startups in insurance segment who are digitizing the traditional insurance industry, but no one has thought in redefining this insurance industry or having new insurances which could last for a day or for even for an hour, who are people who are delivering foods. So there are a lot of opportunities which COVID will bring. Do let us know what else can be added here, and we are open to questions and answers. And golden rule is if we ask for more, we would get more. There is no weakness in asking. So do let us know anything which you want to know. Saurabh?
Okay, Kamal, thank you for the presentation. Karan is having one question. Karan, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Yes. Please ask your
Hello.
question. Yes, Karan.
Yeah, actually, like you were saying that from business, if we are planning from business to customer model, there is we should pay more for the customer acquisition cost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like
You
I
should
just
keep in
want to know
mind
how.
that your marketing and brand. Yeah.
Please, you were saying
Hello,
something. I
Karan.
just want to know.
Like,
Yeah.
so I was telling you, while starting a B2C startup, always focus that you would be spending a lot in acquiring customers or in your marketing cost, or you should have certain viral activities which you can do to reach the masses.
Okay. Okay. So like there is no proper thing to calculate the customer acquisition cost, like.
So you can use example of startups who were there in the similar model and how much time they took to like reach to say a million audience or 10 million audience, how much they invested in acquiring those customers. So you can identify similar models which are there in the market, and you can get a cost idea from that. But ultimately it's your brand ability or how you market your proposition or how you market yourself to attract customers. You can get a rough idea from your parallel industries.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Kamal. There is one question from Sunny. 1 minute.
Yeah, tell me.
Sunny, I have unmuted your line. You can ask your question.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
tell me.
Good evening, sir. Sanya this side. I just want to know that it would be great if like business would use the combination of B2B and B2C. That's going to be beneficial for a startup, or it's like it's risky for a startup.
So again, it depends upon what resources you have. Like if you add so B2B, B2C are like initially they are tough. Like if you want to handle B2C or B2B, they would require a lot of resources. But if you want to add another vertical, then you need to understand what all resources are available from the start. Like you really need a B2B2C model, and you have all the right skill set to execute it. So it's towards understanding your resources capability and what sort of cost structure it would be incurring. Like if it's a model which bypasses certain sector or digitizing, say I'm starting a new company, Where B2B, one B, I'm taking care from the digital media. Like I'm able to get a lot of recommendations or data from the digital platforms. So it would be easier for me to handle the other B2C part. But if I have to put a lot of resources in building all the individual sectors, then it's tough for me. So try to understand how many resources or how much resources would be required. And if you can digitize any of the sector, it would be helpful.
Okay.
So again, define your BMC properly, understand your resources which are available, then you can go about it.
Then we can go for the combination if that is feasible.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And one more thing regarding like in warehousing sector, as your company Justify deals with leasing or renting warehousing facilities to the to your customers. Am I right? Huh.
Yes.
So
One of the part.
so basically you are leasing or renting warehousing services to your customers, but you are just providing them like the warehousing or the land as per the requirement. So if you go into full consultancy, like starting from how their warehouse will be how they use their racking system, uh, everything related to like space maximize, like if we talk about warehouse, so there are three factors like resource optimization, space optimization. So can we go into that sector also, like if you are dealing with customers regarding warehousing, so can you go into this segment also, so as to provide
So
them a
actually,
wholesome.
yeah, you have put it aptly. The thing is, we need to start at some place. So what we did, we have designed algorithms around it. First, we were solving the discovery part. Like now we have got more than 40,000 warehouses on our platform. Like we have great data in place. Now we are using algorithms to make it more smart. The immediate step is to optimize the space which is available. So we are also taking the exact layout of the properties. So we can recommend companies how much aisle space would be there, what would be the racking system. They would be going for a G+5 or G+4,
Yes.
depending upon the storage. So what would be the rental? So we are suggesting our customers. So we have created a platform for our customers where we are predicting these things for our customers. Like first we are giving them benchmarking solution. Like say Coca-Cola have 30 or 40 properties. We will let them know like what's their existing cost structure and is there any method to reduce their existing cost structure, and then recommend them new solutions. So this is already, we are taking care of this using our platform. So yes, you are like actually correct. So we would be
Because
a
it's
holistic
just
platform
that
for this.
just that we need to give our customers a wholesome experience, like starting from warehousing to each and everything they required in their warehouse, or to customize that for them. So that's
Totally
going to be
agreed with you.
beneficial.
Yes, but only part is I told you about the resource management part. So our focus was first to digitize things which never existed. Now we have algorithms in place. Now we have started these things. So like 3 months back only, we made live our benchmarking product. So initial 3 years, this first problem was missing. This data was not available on digital platforms. So we had to create this data. Now we are applying algorithms on this.
Okay.
So this is how you manage your resources and use your capital efficiently.
Okay. You're also into material handling equipments.
Yes. So we are not just renting out. We are handling the compliance part, giving a tech solution. So we help one of a top like telecom player in reducing their MHE cost by $2 million. That too in a year's time. So yes, we are into MHE segment also. We help companies procure these things. And we have also created a Uber model of Hydra cranes. Like you book a Uber cab, na? Your companies can book a Hydra crane for unloading services. And we are live at 250 plus locations.
That would be great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.